So the San Antonio Spurs have gone out and signed Stanley Johnson to a 1-year deal. I want to hear your thoughts down below. The 6'7" wing with a 7-foot wingspan recently played for the Los Angeles Lakers, and he was part of a deal that had sent him to the Utah Jazz, but he was waived after training camp, and he had been playing for the Sioux Falls Skyforce, which is the G League affiliate of Miami Heat. And this isn't a bad deal, okay? This is good. He's a guy that if they can tap into him, he's a really good defender. We've seen him have, Nick Nurse was able to tap into him and was able to get a good shooting year out of him. And this is a guy who went 8th overall back in, I believe, 2015. And his best shooting year came in 2020 to 2021, where he took about 2.5 threes a game, shot 32%. And he did the same thing for Los Angeles the following year, where he shot 31% on 2.5 attempts. But he's a guy who can guard multiple positions, and he's shown flashes of being a good defensive type wing for this team. And he appeared in 48 games last year. And the San Antonio Spurs are 9-18. They're in the midst of a 3-game winning streak. And it's interesting to see this. This was broken a little while ago, but Johnson last year averaged 6.7 points, 3.2 rebounds, 1.7 assists in 22 minutes a night, shot 46.6% from the field. This season, he's played 3 G League games. And for me, I think, look, you got nothing to lose by bringing in Stanley Johnson, because he's a guy that if you can, have him as a reclamation project, he could figure it out. And for the Sioux Falls Skyforce, he's played about 19.5 minutes in 3 games, and he's put up, his stats aren't pretty. But he's definitely a guy who's only 26. The Spurs are rebuilding. And if anything, why not take a shot on Stanley Johnson? Because you have nothing to lose and with a guy like Stanley Johnson. So I'm definitely interested to see what they make of him. So, and it's crazy to think last year he had signed a 2-year deal. Now it's a 1-year deal. So it'll definitely be cool to see where Stanley Johnson ends up, because personally, I think this is a great pickup for them. He's going to be a good backup for Josh Richardson and Keldon Johnson, and he's just kind of like, it's a good deal. You can't be mad at this. You really can't be mad at this. And for me, what do you have to lose by signing a guy like Stanley Johnson? All it's going to do is improve your defense, and the Spurs could give him confidence to shoot more, which, low-key has been his biggest thing since coming into the NBA was, can he learn how to shoot? And, we've seen flashes of him being at least a league average shooter. So maybe, this is the team that could finally unlock him, because they'll give him unlimited amount of touches. And that's what I'll find definitely interesting about this is, how does this affect Stanley Johnson's career arc, and can he be reborn as a San Antonio Spurs? And I just like what they're doing here. They got nothing to lose by doing this move. Seriously, you're not losing anything by doing this. So for me, it's just smart, okay? It's a smart move on their part, because they get to bring in a guy who could end up being someone that they keep in the long term, and he could actually be rather cheap for them. So for me, I think it's a win-win situation for both parties. I know the G League stats, if you look at them, not going to be the nicest G League stats ever for a guy who played 3 games only. But also you have to think about it. He only played 3 games, so it's not really telling of who he actually is. So I think that's something also to put into your head when you look at those stats. But let me hear your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of this signing of Stanley Johnson? Do you think he can make an impact? Especially that they have had some injuries. But we've seen, look, Charles Bassey, who I made a video on earlier. He's now starting to have an impact on this squad and loving it. So I want to hear your thoughts. That's it. Bye.